good afternoon. Very glad to be here after 2.5 years. It's always good not only to be in New York, but you see how vibrant this place is. It takes probably a couple of hours after you start walking here to feel the vibration and the energy and everything. It's very good to be in another Capital Link forum, and also good to feel that we fulfilled the promise we gave last time we were in a forum like this, to say that next time we'll be here, we would have started this amazing investment. Of course, we were helped by COVID because it took more than a year than we thought, but this was one of the positive sides of COVID. Anyway, before I go to the main course of the presentation, the later discussion we're going to have with Petros Machas, we're going to take a look at Lamda to remind you what Lamda is about, and probably to show you why it is, in my opinion, one of the best investment opportunities currently in the Greek stock market. We have, how do we go to the next slide? Lamda started in the early 2000s as a real estate development company, mainly in the sectors of retail. We developed the first shopping centers in Greece. Then we did some residential projects in Greece and abroad, and we also developed marina for mega. Along the way, we decided to keep our malls because they were very successful. So we were a development company, but at the same time, we could say that we were an assets investment company since we still own the malls that we developed in the early 2000s. As you can see, the company has a net asset value of 1.4 billion euros, which is about 30% higher than the latest capitalization. I think that today the share price was at 625. So there you go, you have already a discount of more than 20-25%. But what is important is how well the shopping centers we had developed did during two crises. One was the financial crisis for almost 10 years. Never our occupancies fell below 96%. Never our collections fell under 95%. This was a very, very resilient performance during the hard years. Then we enjoyed probably 5-6 months of comfort months. They were between, I would say, the elections of July 2019 and February of 2020. We thought we had seen it all. We thought now we have only good energy and productive years, and then COVID came up, which tested us for one more time. We think that the biggest part of this is over, and last week we announced our financial results for last year. They were 60% better than 2020, which is so meaningful because, you know, 2020, 2021 were strange years. But what is important is that this profitability in 2021 was just 15% below 2019, which was a record year for us. We believe that unless another black swan event comes, I don't think it's black anymore, I mean it's more regular life, unfortunately, but unless something extraordinary happens again, we think that 2022 is going to be a record profitability year for Lamda. Next thing to say is that we have grown a lot since this early 2000 years, I mean 2000 and 2010 years. Now we have more than doubled our headcount. This was the need in order to transform from a malls company to a company that could execute Ellinikon. Now we recruited, we are above 500 people. Out of them, 60% have masters and PhDs. It was difficult to start the recruitment in 2019 and 2020. You understand that Greece didn't enjoy the highest credibility, and people didn't believe even in Ellinikon, and for good reason. We recruited many people from the Middle East, people who had experience in complex projects, from London, from New York, so forth, so on. Now, we're a much stronger company, ready to start this project. Actually, we have already started, as you will see in the next slide. So overall, we have a side that has to do with investment assets. The malls are the big majority of them. We believe that 2022 is going to be a record year for us, profitability-wise and performance-wise. And Ellinikon, of course, is going to grow from being, as you can see, less than half of the company. You see the 1.4 value of the company consists of 600 million euros from Ellinikon currently. The rest being the investment assets. This picture, of course, is going to change. It's going to be reversed in the next years to come. Now, why I said before that this one, again, is subjective, but we believe it's going to be one of the best investment opportunities in 2023. From a current company valuation of 7.7 euros per share, we think that the company is going to almost double or triple in value just in 4 years. This is even higher if you take today's price that is at 6 euros and 30 cents, not 7.7 euros. Why this is going to happen? First of all, again, if we look at the investment assets, these are the 3 malls we have. They are performing amazingly well. The reason is we put a lot of emphasis and we put a lot of investment on not doing shopping center destinations in terms of fashion, but also put a lot of weight on entertainment and experience. Just to give you some examples, in Golden Hall, we expanded the gross leasing area by 30% last year, investing in a lot of edutainment, making the family destination. We developed the first aquarium in Greece, and we also opened an Olympic museum, the first Olympic museum in Athanasiou, one of the best in the world. So we give more and more opportunities to people to visit our shopping center. The Mall of Athens, we're going to start a major renovation program with more experience there, more entertainment. It's going to be a 30 million euros program that's starting in the next months. Next, this is the marina. We now have 2 marinas. This is the Fleet Marina, 300 berths, record profitability last year, good for mega yachts, which is the new trend. We also have the new marina operating already, the new marina that is within the Ellinikon site that we obtained last year. Now, the main thing, Ellinikon. You have here the numbers, 8 billion euros investment, the biggest private investment in Greece to have ever taken place. Apart from this, thousands of jobs. But most of all, we believe it's not the size, it's the variety of this project. This project has it all. Has infrastructure, has smart city elements, has green, has hotels, has everything. We think, based on our consultants' estimates, that the visitors to Athens in 2024-2025 are going to be at least 40% more than they are today. If we think this number is impressive, I'll tell you that after Marina Bay Sands opened in Singapore, you know the project, Singapore, starting from a very high base, because it was already a popular destination, doubled their visitors within the next 4 years. And it was very, very nice, but it was just an integrated casino resort. This is going to have it all. Very green, and imagine the Athenian weather, everything else that Athens has to offer, and most of all, it's going to enhance the credibility of the country so much needed. How we're doing as far as the project is going. To say something that probably you all know, I don't need to repeat it, but just to remind you, they are saying that projects of this complexity, of this magnitude, usually go bankrupt the first time. Some of them the second time as well. Many people remind this to me when we started it. We think this time is going to be different. There is a book about bubbles that is called "This time is going to be different," to say exactly that this is not the case, but there are some things that make us believe that it is already different. One thing is that the residential developments we have started designing and fast and very soon executing are all pre-sold. One is what we call the Marina Tower. It's a 200-meter high-rise tower, residential, we will see it later, on the coastline, 200 apartments all sold, about €500 million worth of revenues. Then we have designed 27 villas on the coastline, all sold. Just behind the villas, we have the condos, about 100 apartments in the process of being sold. This process is going to be completed just next month. Another 100 apartments, another 200 million euros. Total, all three, 1.1 billion euros worth of revenues. And before we even start construction, about 200 million euros out of this 1.1 billion euros is going to be in our bank accounts before the end of this year. So this makes us feeling good about the pre-sales. This was, in this personal opinion, sales is the most important component of the success for any company. Other things you can fix. If you don't have sales, it's difficult because some things are out of your control. Number two, apart from the resi, we have the designs for our shopping centers. This is the biggest mall. It's going to be the biggest mall in Greece, new generation mall, a hybrid of inside and outside spaces, very green, very smart, very technology oriented, but most of all very human. 80% of of our GLA is already agreed. Actually, the demand is for 145% of our GLA, but because you know in malls you have to have the proper tenant mix, we are selective with whom we are signing agreements. 80% there. Next year, 100% of this is going to be signed. Some of the other developments that are worth mentioning here. To the left, we have a mixed-use tower designed by Aedas. Aedas is a very good architectural company, Chinese, Singaporean. They are very good. This is a mixed-use tower, again 200 meters height from the sea elevation. When I say mixed-use, it's going to include offices, hotel, brand hotel, and apartments. You see Piraeus Bank offices up there. We have, as you know, closed the deal with Piraeus Bank, 150 million euros deal. Piraeus Bank is going to carry their headquarters in Ellinikon. This is another sign what Ellinikon is going to be about. Furlis is the best operator of big boxes retail park space. They are also going to be in Ellinikon. And last but not least, Temes is the company owned by the Konstantakopoulos family, Achilles Konstantakopoulos brothers, and Ola Young. And we signed, our strategy is to do deals in things we don't have expertise. So we're trying to do cooperation with the best in kind. One of them is probably the best in Greece. Not probably, the best in Greece is the Konstantakopoulos family. They have developed Constantino Varino. They acquired Hilton, now Conrad. They transformed the brand. We feel very good having a 70-30% JV with them. Another stage of risk in any development, apart from designs, apart from all the things that I mentioned before, is funding. Usually bankruptcies happen because we lack funding at some point. So we wanted to have all the money before we even start. We do have all the money before we even start. How this happened? The first phase is the 2.5 billion euros you see down there at the left bottom. How we're going to cover 2.5 billion euros. 600 million euros we got 2 years ago from a share capital increase, thank God before COVID. Another inflow of money was a bond we issued summer of 2019, 300 million euros, out of which 200 will go to Ellinikon. Bank debt we signed with Eurobank and Piraeus Bank, 1 billion euros. We don't need more debt since our sales have gone so well. Actually, the pre-sales that I talked to you about before cover about 160% of the rest of the funding we need. So we're more than covered. And then the last stage of any development is the construction, execution. And this is the plan for the first 5 years. It's pretty aggressive. What you see in color is what we're going to develop until the end of 2025, beginning of 2026. So you see all the coastline is going to be developed. If you start from the right part, you see the marina is already there, but of course we're going to revamp it. It is on this marina we're going to develop the minigal area, the one in pink. The Konstantakopoulos family hotels and branded resi is going to be developed here. Hotels and branded resi. Imagine the views they're going to have. See from one side, see from the other. This Marina Galleria is not going to be just a gallery of fashion. It's going to have some of the best restaurants in the world. Here is the Marina Tower, 200-meter high rise, already pre-sold. You can imagine the views there. There, we're going to develop a sandy beach more than 1 kilometer long. And these are the already sold out villas and condominiums that I talked about before. Finally, here is another hotel, another brand hotel. By the way, this is also going to help Greece being put on the map for the right reasons. These are going to be very high-value brand operators, nice branded branded residential serviced by the hotels. Here we're going to have the first part of the park. This is about 700 hectares with a lot of sports facilities here. This is the biggest mall in Greece that I talked to you about before, and where the office park is going to be developed, with Piraeus having already signed their move of headquarters. It is likely that we may reach an agreement with Eurobank in the next months for Eurobank to also carry their headquarters in Ellinikon. Not signed yet. We hope this is going to happen sometime after summer. Also, this is the announcements to make today. We think that the educational sector here and the health sector is also going to be signed within this year. So it's going to be a full is going to be developed after phase 1. However, because of the success of the range we had so far, we are thinking of bringing another 1,000 units next year for sale. I think this time I'm not going to be tough. Because we have lived a lot. I like the motto by Mr. Velasquez, the ugly, the good, and everything. I think it's time for some good, and then the rest will fall into place. We have also done all the demolitions necessary. There were 900 buildings in Ellinikon, hundreds of thousands of square meters. They have to be demolished in order for the new works to start. This has already happened. We are ready. And we also want to start giving some things to the society before 2025. Part of this was the development of the Experience Park. This is a 7 hectares area that we developed for Christmas, and not only for Christmas. This is now at work every day. People go there. More than 500,000 people have visited the Experience Park. It's a nice area full of green, full of lights, full of entertainment. This is going to be at the upper right corner, the first building we are starting in Ellinikon. It's going to start in 2 weeks from now. It's for people with disabilities. It has a symbolic character and also substance. And again, it's the first building, so people will start real works in a month from today. Last but not least, and again, this is news for today, it is the Experience Center. Big developments have what they call a visitor center for people to come and see what is going to be developed. The Experience Center is going to be the biggest visitor center in the world. The target was to show that Greece can do something in the superlative form, for Greeks to feel proud that this is going to take place in Greece, and for foreigners to feel, shock and know that this is going to happen and it's for real. This is going to open on April 28th. It's going to be a combination of natural elements and of smart city element, and it's going to show not only maquettes, but much more than maquettes, not only buildings, but much more of the experience somebody is going to live in Ellinikon. Infrastructure, a couple more slides. Infrastructure is what we already signed with AVAX to start 2 weeks from today. It was the first big package. 300 million euros is the worth of this package, and it includes almost everything to infrastructure, road networks, utilities, and you can imagine. We have also done a lot of, as you can see, geotechnical work and archaeological excavations to see what is there, to make sure that we're fine on this front as well, which we are. Last but not least, permitting has been a big issue, a big obstacle in Greece. As you know, many big developments start just to stop for a while after they start. So we followed a different path in Ellinikon. Before we started the project, we want to make sure that the Council of State, Συμβούλιο Επικρατείας, has signed the master plan. It has, I see there, Andreas Petros. Andreas Petros helped so much when he was president, when he was CEO of Taipei, to make these projects happen, and to also put some mechanism in place to make sure that this is going to run smoothly when it starts. First thing was the approval by master plan, by the High Court of the master plan. Second, we created with the government the one-stop shop called Ellinikon Bureau to give all operational and construction permits that we needed to go fast about it. And last, before we pay the second installment in June of next year, we have to have all construction permits in place for all landmark buildings. Last but not least, these are nice, they are the formalities, the typicalities, but it's important also to have a government that believes in this project. I have never seen a more pro-business government than the one we currently have, so this gives us faith, and also the easiness to proceed and overcome obstacles, because in a project of this complexity, you will always have obstacles, so you need someone to be your partner and not lazy. Some of these developments are the next photos. The video is going to follow after that, but just to say a couple of things about the design teams. Marina Tower is designed by Foster, the partners. They also did our master plan. The Cove Villas and the Cove Residence are designed by some foreign, but mostly by Greek architects. I want to say how nicely surprised we were by the quality and the work of Greek architects in the residential sector. Amazing work, they did amazing designs, and I'll tell you what, it's not because we are saying this. Out of the 27 villas that were sold to 60% foreign buyers, they had the choice of the 6 architects we gave to them. 4 were Greeks, 2 were foreign, some of the best foreign resi architects. The 80%, 85% of the foreign buyers chose the Greek architects for the villas and the condos. This is very good. This is, vote by actual purchases. This is the mixed-use tower designed by Aidas, I said before. I think it's impressive. It's a mixed use of offices, apartments, hotel next to the mall. Nice at the top. These are the 2 malls. The Viliarmenis mall is this hybrid that I talked about of open and closed spaces. The photo doesn't do justice to this one. I've seen the renderings, the 3Ds and everything. It is amazing. As much as I'm trying not to use excessive words, it is something nice. Riviera Galleria is the other boutique mall that we said it's going to be on the marina, so you might be there in a restaurant, in a bar of high quality, because we talk with the best restaurants and bars in the world. But at the same time, it's difficult to combine in many other places in the world the nature. I was in Dubai, I was in Amazonico last month because we're seeing things like this. Amazing restaurant, amazing bar, but you don't have this weather, you don't have this view, you don't have the sea, and it's interactive beauty. You don't just see it, you can do things, you can swim in these waters. So that's why we are very passionate about this. Finally, apart from all the developments, the buildings and all this, these are things to be given to the public. Again, they are going to happen in the next 4 years. We're not talking about the future. Ellinikon Park, 1/3 of Ellinikon is going to be a park. We are designing this with Sasaki architects. The name may not imply this, but they are Americans. They're fantastic. We're working with them. They are in Greece. They are doing many nice things. There are many nice parks in the world that are grass with some trees. Central Park is an exception because it has a lot of variety. We think this is going to be something with a lot of variety. It's not going to be just grass. It's going to be everything. Finally, the coastal front, the sandy beach. Here we can see the video. But somebody has to push the button.
Can we have the video, please?
Όπως όλοι γνωρίζουμε, η πανέμορφη χώρα μας διαθέτει έναν απαράμιλο πλούτο ιστορικής και πολιτιστικής κληρονομιάς. Στην Αθήνα, στην πόλη που αποτελεί το λίμνο του δυτικού πολιτισμού, δημιουργούμε μέσω του ελληνικού το σημείο κίνησης μιας νέας εποχής.
No matter where in Attica people live, they will have a myriad of reasons to come to the Ellinikon, with access being easy and quick to swim in the new pristine beach, which we have already started working on. History lovers will be able to walk along the Ellinikon cultural path to discover exhibits of one of the most important prehistoric settlements in Attica, and visit monuments of our great cultural heritage. Sports enthusiasts will be able to use the sports center's ultra-modern facilities located within the park, which will be completed in the next couple of years. The time has come to reveal some of the most significant developments that will be completed by 2025. We begin with the creation of an extensive path network exceeding 50 kilometers with walkways, bicycle routes, and light traffic roads. A unique walkway 56 meters in width and 2.5 kilometers in length is being created, connecting Viliarmenis Avenue with the coastal front through the Ellinikon Park. Our goal is for the network we will create to continue onto the walkways of the adjacent municipalities and eventually connect Machas with the sea. Another project is the underground construction of part of Poseidonos Avenue near the Agios Kosmas sports facilities for approximately 1.5 kilometers. At the same time, there will be unimpeded access to the coastal front from the park via the iconic overpass connecting the two spots. The works for the redevelopment of the beach are already underway since last summer. The studies for the park and the sports facilities are also underway. 2022 will mark the beginning of works for the new building that will accommodate the associations for people with disabilities, the works for upgrading the marina, Agios Kosmas Beach, as well as the construction of the Marina Tower. According to our planning, 2023 will mark the beginning of works for the Marina Galleria. The beachfront residences and the complexes in front of the park. In 2023, we will also begin construction of the mixed-use tower, featuring a hotel and offices on Odisseas Avenue, as well as the mall complex.
Κυρίες και κύριοι, το ελληνικό ξεκίνησε. Ανήκει σε όλους τους πολίτες και ως το 2025 το μεγαλύτερο μέρος του θα είναι έτοιμο για να το ζήσουν και να νιώσουν περήφανοι.
We start. Thank you very much.
So, congratulations, Odisseas. Amazing presentation, and especially for all of us who have worked in this project for the last 10 years. It is quite an emotional moment because we see that what the vision was 10 years ago to be a reality, which is amazing. And indeed, I want to express the gratitude of all of us to you, to your leadership, to your ability to handle all these difficult moments and make it reality. And this project is reality, and I think you deserve a round of applause from all of us for what you have done. If not a standing ovation.
Thank you at this point to say that I always believed in teamwork and shared efforts. So this is not personal. There is a team of very, very talented and especially very committed and passionate individuals who started, with some level of experience, but they put their heart in this project. Without this, you cannot achieve projects of this magnitude. This is very, very important. And also, we were lucky to have someone who believed in us very much, our shareholder, Petros Latsis, and actually his sister, Margarita Latsis, but he believed from the beginning, and now it's easy to say that more and more people believe in these projects, but during the financial crisis, 2013, 14, 15, during so many difficulties and obstacles, it's very important to have someone to back you up and believe in you no matter what. So, thank you anyway.
So, let me make some first questions, and I think from the audience we'll get one or two more questions. For the first question is, what are in your strategic plans, what are the next milestones towards the development? You said that we are talking about a project of 4 or 5 years. What are the milestones that we will see that indeed you are on track and that the project is as you expected to develop?
Okay, the first thing was to have good designs, because to my learning as well, and to several others, it takes a lot of effort to have very detailed designs and then to go to execution of construction. So we put very good designs in place in a process through which we could select the best. Foster, Aedas, Kengo Kuma was the designer of the other Galleria, as we said. Designs were number one, and Sasaki for the park. Number two, which was very, very difficult, I have to tell you, was the recruitment of the people who would execute these things. To find 300 people within 18 months and to bring them in a place that was hurting from, as you know, from all this drainage was very, very difficult. Now they're coming back. I think it was the best symbolic way to say that we materialize the brain regain, which is a motto, but in our case is reality. This was number two. The third thing was to start real execution. Of course, pre-selling gave us a big advantage in believing in this and have the best contractors to come in place. We already announced the infrastructure one. Next week, we're going to announce the Marina Tower contractor, who is going to be with us first as a consultant and then hopefully as the main contractor. So these are the three steps. Now, in terms of what you're going to see with your own eyes, starting again, and this is very good, the next month is, with drone views, many people working there, many cranes, many machinery and equipment. It's going to be a very, very lively place starting in May. This is good.
Amazing. So the question is, okay, this is the trajectory, this is the steps to go. What is the impact in the real economy of the country, and I would say also the impact in the society, in the Greek society, of this project? Are we going to talk about Greek economy pre-Hellenikon and post-Hellenikon?
I hope so. Some time ago we were saying we want to put Greece on the map for the right reasons. I remember times that you would go abroad in the times of the Grexit issue, 2013, 12, 14, and you wouldn't feel so good. Now we think that this project is going to put Greece on the map for the right reasons. Now, there are tangible reasons for that, intangible reasons for that. The tangibles have to do with the numbers. 8 billion euros investment, GDP growth by 2% after year 5 contribution, 2% GDP is significant, thousands and thousands of jobs, tourists coming. These are the tangible elements we're going to see very soon. The intangible element is the psychological one. Credibility is going to be restored, very, very important. Capital will be employed with good returns in this one. And I think also the psychology of Greeks is going to improve because of this. And one of the targets we have internally is that we want to make this project the epitome of Greece being able to do something not only credibly time-wise and profit-wise, but with high integrity. We want to show we can do a project of billions the right way. And this is another intangible element very important to us.
Yeah, but this trajectory, let's say, is not a plain vanilla thing. It has ups and downs and difficulties. Now I'm talking about the Ukrainian thing and the inflation and the increase, the spike of the prices in energy and in raw materials. What is your crisis management with regards to this situation?
When I started as a CEO in 2010, the first crash course was the financial crisis. So I said, okay, tough times, but at least I got a very good educational course. Then when we finished this, we had COVID. I said, okay, we got another. Now we have Ukrainian. So what we are doing about this, apparently the costs have increased. There are 2-3 things. I mean, we're not Harry Potter, we don't have a magic stick. We're trying to do the best we can to manage these things. One thing is to have very good designs and know what their costs are. The other thing is to apply a new methodology for Greece. It's the first time that this is implemented in Greece. In the US, it is being implemented, which is called early contractor involvement. So we're getting the contractor with us since we are doing the designs. For example, next week, as I said, we're going to announce the contractor for the Marina Tower. They are going to be working with our architects, Foster in this case, to make sure we exploit to the max value engineering. Value engineering, as you know, is a way to optimize what materials you're using, how you design, if there are better ways to design and more cost-efficient ways to design. So this is going to help us a lot. The other thing is that, and this is reality, real estate is considered an anti-inflation hedge. Why? Because, yes, costs go up, but at the same time, the pricing of real estate is going up. And the last is that we have contingencies. And to be practical, and not theoretical, I'll tell you that the first contract we signed with AVAX, the package about infrastructure, was within our budget. We had heavy contingencies because we thought that, this is a complex project, dynamic, You need to have contingencies. We did this. The other thing is that for new projects, like, for example, the villas or the condos, for the villas, we have sold the lump lots to the buyers, so the construction cost is on the buyers. For the condos, the prices in which we are selling now are higher, much higher than the budget, so we have another cushion for cost. The risk we have in cost, but it's also good for the buyers, and it shows why real estate is good. Anti-inflation is, in the Marina Tower, we sold the apartments, we lock the pricing. If we have further cost increase from what we are today, then the cost is going to hit Lamda. It's not going to be a huge cost. We're talking about probably 20 million euros for another 20% increase on top of what it is today. But it shows that for someone who bought, I don't know how many of you have bought Marina Tower apartment. I see some faces that they have. It's good. That's why it's called anti-inflation, because it shows they pay the price, whatever price this was. But 2-3 years from now, because of what's happening today, their pricing is going up. We don't want more black swan events, though. I think we're okay.
Okay. Putting aside the residential, what about commercial? You announced 2 new commercial projects in 2011, the Riviera Galleria and the Commercial Hub. Do you foresee that there will be an increase in spending or in consumption in Greece, or? Because there are already malls, successful malls in Greece.
Yes.
What is your vision behind that?
Yes. To start with, though, a big difference with the States, for example, or some other places, the big venues in Greece, as a percentage to total retail, are a very, very small fraction. You know, there are some statistics, for example, how many square meters per 1,000 people in any country you have. In Greece, it's 80 square meters per person. In countries in Europe, there are 400. In Scandinavia, 800. So big venues are not that many in Greece. Our malls are the 3 largest malls. We have seen consumer spending per person increasing steadily over the last 2 years. That's why we did so well in profitability, relatively speaking, in spite of COVID, because we had less people coming to our centers, but spending, each person who was coming was spending more money. This is one thing. The second thing is that, of course, if these things with cost continue and energy continues, we may see a drop in consumption. I hope that this is not going to happen forever. You know, so far we haven't seen any decrease in consumption in our malls. We have seen, as I said, an increase, not decrease. We think that costs will de-escalate. By the way, before, when you asked me about the cost for Ellinikon, we said that my answer was based on the fact that this cost will prevail forever. We start our buildings at the end of this year or beginning of next year, which means any cost de-escalation 12 months from today will alleviate the pain, right? And I hope this is going to happen.
So my last question, and in order to give the floor to the audience, my last question is, going back to the commercial, let's say, projects that you have, do you have any intention to, let's say, spin off this mall, let's say, function of Lamda and make a new listing in the Athens Stock Exchange?
Yes.
And the second is, you said that the NAV is 40% above the share,
30%.
30% above the share capital increase, and which is far above the price of today in the stock market. How do you see your share going in the stock exchange?
Yeah, as I said, you know, sometimes you are subjective one. You are in a company, at the same time you know the facts. I think this is one of the most undervalued stocks in the Greek stock exchange. Why? One thing was COVID affected probably the prospects for the malls, but most importantly is, as I said, these projects have a high risk of they're going to happen bankrupt, and the price of the stocks in Greece are led by foreign funds, American funds and English funds. They have to see to believe. They don't know the detail that I showed to you in this presentation, and they don't believe in brick and mortar retail until they see it. So I believe that when construction starts in May, and when they see the money flowing in our bank accounts for the pre-sales, they will become very aggressive. And I have seen this in Lamda many times before. There is, you know, a calm period, and then when someone starts, a second one follows, and then you have an explosion. As regards as because you see all the fundamentals are there, And the other thing that you asked about the spin-off.
The spin-off of the malls.
Right.
Are you thinking about
Yes.
that?
Yes, actually we're thinking to do this, to have done this
Because I
already.
read in the press that there was a...
Yeah, there is a lot of noise about it, true noise. We were going to do this in 2020, half one 2020, but then COVID came. Obviously, we couldn't do it. Now we plan to do this half one 2023, and it's going to include the 3 malls we have, big value for investors who want steady dividends in the area of 5%. The malls are going to be in the stock market, and we're going to include, hopefully, in this IPO, the 2 new malls we are developing in Ellinikon.